All right. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Hopefully you can hear me. Lots to get through in this 8 minutes before the market opens. So let's dive into the charts as we always do. We're going to start on the daily chart right here. All right. So those who've done the course and know we are looking at the weekly model. Here is your range for the week so far. So very simply, this weekly model will protect either this high or this low. So this will either be a failed breakout return back into a range, or we're going to have a continuation trade lower. All right. If we're going to go lower, where are we going to go? You'll notice now, we've talked about it the last few weeks, the lower Bollinger Band is starting to point downwards. Okay. So we have room to come and attack this lower Bollinger Band, which just so happens to be right next to these equal lows. So 21,000, if we're going to drive lower, big if, is going to be key. That is the same point as really we've had highs in, if this was on an ES1, NQ1 here. All right, so basically previous all-time highs. This is effectively becoming a quasi neckline. A break of this, a snap and a retest in the next few days really opens the gate for a big puke out to start Q1. So they're going to want to try and hold 21k. Moving into the hourly chart, which I think shows us a huge amount today. You can see the pathing I've already drawn out, which I went through with my team earlier. All right, so Wednesday morning, overnight into London and Asia, we swept previous day low and we came back in and attacked this level here, this old point of control, old level of demand. For now, it's holding up. So we've swept previous day low, trading back inside, and we're getting stuck just in front of the current point of control into sort of around 400. All right, so 400 is going to be key. 400 all the way up to 450, 480, and even 520 is key. A breakout, this move here, a breakout and a hold of this can open the gate for that drive back up to refill some of the imbalance for that puke out yesterday. A failed breakout of this range will give us a bear trap, all right, and a rotation back inside. All right, so I won't be taking breaks of this range because this is high risk. I'd want a break and retest to hold if I'm really going to get involved in this. And then you have this, all right, what we're building right now. All right, lower highs. We go from pivot yesterday, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. If this is a continuation of the flag, we at least expect it to retest the low, and then we see if it does this move back down for that next leg down into 21,000. The same rule will apply as this here. We can have a bear trap right here, right? If we do a failed break or retest of the overnight low somewhere around here, all right, trap short sellers underneath and a return back inside to here. These might not look like big moves, all right, but this is a 350-point move. This range is massive. I cannot get this through to you enough. The range right now is absolutely huge. Day after day, we're doing 300, 400, 500-point moves. Do not be surprised if we get a liquidation event at some point, whether that's upside or downside, and we have an 800 to 1,000-point day, especially with what the VIX is currently doing. The VIX this morning went and tagged its supply up to 1950. Remember, that was the key level we were looking at yesterday. We now have a double top, almost a triple top at 1950. A breakout of 1950 will take us to 20 on the VIX. A break of 20, honestly, we can refill the balance all the way back to 2650. Anything like that, any break through the 20s, this market will go risk off and will puke. All right, so you have to be aware of everything at play in terms of macros. Looking at the 5-minute then, before we get into the lower time frame charts, as you can see, like we talked about, all right, we rallied yesterday off the demand session that we put in. Where was that from? Old point of control from, I don't know, the 2nd or so. Trading View not telling me the date here. I'm pretty sure it's from the 2nd. So look on the hourly. Yeah, from the 2nd. So old point of control. We tested it. We found buyers down here. This was a short covering rally into close, right? Because all shorts had made their money all day. They cover because they don't want to hold positions in case of a gap up in the morning. So what did we get in London and Asia? All right, we got a continuation of that trade into key levels of supply. All right, so we drove up, we created range, buyers failed to push up, we break the bottom side of that range, retest the high, and then roll over. So currently, everyone who was net long into close yesterday was underwater on this stop run. The question is, do they hold these to re-soak back up and retest effectively a range? You can really think about Asia, London right here as a range, all right? We either keep rejecting this range for a rotation back into current overnight low and then 21K. If we start to trade through this range, you have to be careful of this move here to attack this here, and this is bear trap territory or bull continuation squeeze territory. All right, lots of plays on offer today because we have large liquidity pools sat at very different levels right now, and you have lots of opportunity to back test both sides of the range. Really, that becomes very, very viewable in the daily chart, right? In the daily chart, you can see, if you just think about the daily chart, here to here, and we're here, all right? So these are highs, these are lows. We are just under midpoint, which I'd say is around the 500 mark. So you have to be careful. Trades down to here have opportunity, but you'd want a back test to make sure it will do it. And trades up to here have the opportunity as well. Maybe not that high, maybe more like into this area here. We can see that even better as we go down to a lower time frame chart. Let's go down to the main chart now. All right, and you'll see overnight, we held this demand level that I put in after sweeping previous day low. And we have this supply level overhead, which we tagged into 1, 2, 3 times before puking out. All right, so some of these were in yesterday's session, and then this morning's session into Asia and London, into here around 6 o'clock before rolling over. So really right now is 2 options. Either this is the creation of a bear flag for a rollover continuation, and then we see if they bid it back up, or we create the quasi kind of move or an attack of these levels for a trade back up. That's what I'm looking at the open, those 2 things. I will not be trading at the open, and I'm going to be really, really clear with you today. I am going to trade very, very light and only 1 account today. If you didn't know, I live in Los Angeles. I'm right next to all these fires. Most of my friends have already had to evacuate Santa Monica and Palisades. There is a chance today that the electricity gets shut off. Hopefully I won't have to evacuate, but there is a chance, a very high chance electricity gets shut off. So I'm going to be risk off a little bit today with my own accounts. And we've got the open right now. So we're into the open. Once we get through this, I'll go through all the shout outs, see who's tuning in. So just be cautious. Just remember, careful with your sizing. I'm going to tell you what the market's doing. All right, 5-year, 10-year, 30-year, gapping up again, driving higher. Mixed bag across the Mag 7. Most of the Mag 7 look just like this, where they've swept previous day low and they're just trading inside for now. Right, most of the Mag 7 look very, very similar to the Qs, and the ES looks exactly the same as well. So you got Apple starting off red, Microsoft green, Amazon green, Google red, Meta red. Those are both the biggest losers in the Mag 7 right now. Nvidia 1.3% up. Remember, Nvidia got absolutely smacked yesterday. It might be due some sort of rally soon today. Going to get through the chat quickly while we let this settle down, while some of you are looking for your opening ranges. So good morning, Exister, DJ Noah, Jake and One Up, Coop, Miguel, Marek, Ramos, Edwin, Chris, Idris, Mindful Matters, Christy, Steve, Glenn, Exister, Minix, Jeff. Good morning, everyone. Morning, everyone. Aid, good morning. Thumper, good morning. Elia, good morning. Morning, Cat. Let's have a good day here. Right now, it's trying to break down and maybe test some of these areas down here where we can see if buyers start participating. Okay, looking at the tape, nothing of huge notable size down there. The last thing I'm going to do is just double check the news. My phone is absolutely blowing up with friends who are panicking right now a little bit. Oh yeah, okay, good to remember. The minutes from FOMC come today at 2 o'clock. Idris, good morning. Jane Joy, good morning. Michael Pope, good morning. So just trading back and forth for now. Nothing really to do here. We're testing previous day close, trading between PDC and PDL. All right, right at VWAP and open at VWAP. So it might need to chop around a bit, build some liquidity before it makes any bigger decisions on the session. Remember, if you're playing your opening range breaks, you can think about the 1 minute, the 3 minute, the 5 minute, the 15 minute, whatever works for you. For me, I think the market just needs to ideally come down a bit and either find bids or start to break key levels, and I can think about getting involved. But definitely higher time frame, very, very much bearish here. Look at the hourly chart, a great guide for you so far. Trading back to POC now on the session, where we created most of the volume. How we react down here at a sort of 260 to 220 will be key. If we start breaking those levels, there is the chance of a rollover back down into 21K. We start letting go of 21K, it is a major, major problem for the market. VIX starting off with a pullback into 1850, finding bids there, coming back and testing now towards the top side. Can it get back through 19 for that squeeze to 1950 and a breakout? That's what I'm watching on the VIX. Fairly subdued open here. I will try and be as focused as I can today, team. Yeah, well, I leave the session. I use session volume profile. So it's calculates the whole session, yeah, including Asia and London. But yesterday's POC is sat right at about 450. So if we're going to go and back test that, that's where we're going to test. And that, of course, will be the edge of the current range. A break through that will open the gate for a move to search for liquidity. All right, these levels up here. Right, so a break of 450 will allow us to start searching for the liquidity. 520, 575, we might as well call it, and 640s before a tag into supply. So we can think about this whole thing from yesterday's high down to here as a range and a break into golden pocket type territory for a reshort. So long up there if we do it and a reshort from there. Other thing to note is I do have an anchored view up on, where is it? Is it this one? Yeah. So this anchored view up here currently sat at 440 as well. That's off yesterday's high. So we know sellers are in control all the time. We're under 440. It's starting to look like it might want to drive up towards that and test it. VIX getting stuck there at the 19s again. We're trading back into PDC here. Still just inside a range. Nothing to do here. A break of this might allow a sweep of this liquidity for a quick move up into here. How we act there will be key. Will we do this? One of these two things, or like a failed breakout. Remember, overall sentiment is bearish, but we are low on the week. Look at the daily chart. Think about where we're trading. Either we get a continuation trade today, or we probably get a failed breakout trade. There is a chance that we just get a sideways trade while it builds liquidity. We've had pretty big day yesterday. It is possible that we need to build liquidity for a move either later in the session or tomorrow, in which case we'll just build a range down here. That is possible. It is possible to do that. So as always, do me a favor, hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, make sure you are subscribing. I'm here every single day, Monday to Friday, from pre-market all the way into lunch on the New York session. Redline, good morning. Very subdued open here. Very subdued open. Most of the Mag 7, mixed bag. Sort of not moving too much from these pre-market levels. Nvidia 1.4% up. That will need a significant bounce to backtest anything today. Yeah, I think it's a half day tomorrow, Jim. But I'll double check that. I feel like it's a half day. Yeah, we were talking about it in Discord that it might be an odd one of building liquidity today if tomorrow's a half day or a full day off. Yeah, okay, there you go. Closes at 9. So then we'll have all this liquidity built up to be used at NFP, which is just a wild way to have this week. So VIX just hanging around at previous day high right now. It has some supply above it, a double top type move above it. Treasuries continue to move upside, right? We keep talking about, I think we've been talking about it for months now. The more the treasuries keep moving upside, the worse it's going to be for the market. Starting to break down here, got stuck at the PDC and lower time frame algo. Up here, it's starting to break down, maybe retest previous day low, maybe this low down here. This level up here is also London low. All right, so just chopping between PDC, London low up here, and maybe a retest of this pre-market low and higher time frame demand down here. And then we have to see, do buyers come in and go for a rotation, or do they let this finally go and go for the 21K? I genuinely do not know what these guys want to do today. So we're just going to let it shake out and look to take a piece of it once the market is ready. If you're taking that opening range break, you have that 5-minute opening range break setting up for you right now. So it's left the opening range break high at the high of the day. If you start to break down underneath 18, you can take that break for a move lower. You'll be looking for a 1-to-1 and a scalp. It looks like it's starting to give you that scalp trade down. There you go. So you can attack PDL here if you're taking that opening range break low right here. Move your stops in and look to attack previous day low. Be aggressive with your stops. Remember, you are shorting lows in terms of the weekly and daily range. But if you're taking that opening range break, it is paying for you right now. You're now up 20 points, 25 points. All right, it's a good trade. Watch that PDL into 80s. Make sure you're paying yourself. Remember, if you've watched my video on opening range break, you have to be aggressive in paying yourself. ATR right now around 33 points per M1 candle. Spike to a high today of 65 points per M1 candle. Just remember that. These are big, big moves on the NQ every 1 minute. It's not a normal market. It's a very volatile market. VIX now above previous day high, tagging into that 19. So it's coming into a decision point around here. Market going back and testing the low of that 5-minute opening range. No sweep of previous day low yet in the New York session. We did sweep it overnight. No sweep in the New York session. Nothing to do yet. I'm flat on everything. No trades taken. Being fairly cautious, I'd say if I wasn't on a stream, it's unlikely that I would trade today. Not because of the setups, because of stuff going on outside of trading. If I went through my checklist today, I would probably say that Yep, Jack, exactly. Exactly. Right next to me. So I've already been on call to two friends this morning who got evacuated from Santa Monica. So I'm just along from Santa Monica. 3 fires here in Los Angeles. The winds last night and this morning are mental, up to 100-mile-per-hour winds, which are carrying the fires all through the city. You had a lot of panic last night, everyone leaving their cars on the PCH freeway, which then opens those up to get burnt. You live in Santa Monica. So have you evacuated, Jack? Most of my friends that are on like Fifth and Main and anywhere around that got evacuated. My wife's work's been cancelled today. Her office is Santa Monica. So have you evacuated to Marina Del Rey or further along? I would double check that, Jack. I don't know where you are. But yeah, a lot of people didn't get amber alerts and the evacuation notice. Just double check that. Not trying to cause panic, but it's definitely worth checking. All my friends in Santa Monica got evacuated last night. It's a tag of the VWAP there, rejecting off it so far. Still in this range. Decent size range here, 95-point range. It doesn't look big in this opening session, but it is big. That's a 50-point move straight off the VWAP already. Only north of, yeah. That was the notice a few of them got, actually. That was yesterday morning or afternoon. Yeah, we have our emergency bags packed. I don't think it's going to get here, honestly. I think it's going to struggle to move through the concrete in Santa Monica and Venice. It's just the winds that are going to blow it onto like the trees and people who've panicked and left their cars on the freeway. So building a range here. The question is, how are they going to use this? All right, it's not clear and obvious right now if they want to rotate down and take out this, or if they're going to pop through this first. All right, it's got targets both sides. Still no trade for me. Look at the flow zones, right? Flow zones, lower time frame algo, VWAP, all stacked very close together. These are no trade type areas. We talked about this yesterday. Once it starts opening up and becomes clear and directional, all right, even if it does this, nice and directional, or does this, nice and directional, we'll get a piece of the move, all right? And all you need in these markets is a piece of the move. It's offering you 30, 40, 50 points in 90 seconds. That's more than enough to make your day. VIX rejecting 19 again here, all right? Very, very close to some trigger points across the market here. Still just doing that dance in a range. Still sat on my hands, 95-point range. Trading between the VWAP PDC, the London low. All right, we're stuck at the London low. If they let this through London, then they can go and attack the London and Asia high and the old point of control up towards 450s, right? If they let it through, it's a 100-point move upside if they're going to let it through, potentially. Downside, same kind of move. It would be previous day low and a sweep of overnight low down here. All right, so that would be a rotation for this move. Otherwise, you have to wait for this and then a squeeze up. Like I said, right now I'm not interested in this. I think this is how you get trapped and chopped up in a market. Just going to wait. We're only 15 minutes, 16 minutes into the session. Yeah, Black Beauty. I haven't checked out that firm. What I would say is make sure they have Tradeovate and NinjaTrader available. If they don't, then I'd say there's some red flags there. I know it's guys that used to work at Apex, but just be careful. So many firms popping up now. The only firms I recommend are the ones on down below here. My favorite one by far is Tradeify. Just be careful. So chopping around in this range, I bet there's a lot of traders already who have probably blown up. Honestly, there are probably a lot of people who have already used their bullets, traded back and forth, and blown up on the day already, even though we've barely moved. It's what happens when we build ranges. Just be patient, all right? The flow zones will show you when to take a trade, when and if it becomes ready. Maybe they're going to wait for those FOMC minutes later. It would seem odd to do that, but it's possible. Not much liquidity on the book either. Like upside and downside, there's no big levels really to aim at. No one's showing their hand here. Tesla's going to go and want to back test that 400. If it can get through that, that 420 is that next level it likes. Currently trading at 397 on Tesla. Nvidia way off its highs now, 142s, up 1.5%, but again, a long way to go and back test. So potentially they're going to try and do this squeeze move here for the move up. Remember, the break of 400 has the potential to let it through the gate up to that London high around 436, 440, and then potentially for continuation higher. But we're still just in the range. No clear break yet, but lots of liquidity sat up here. This is where the sellers are. This is where their stops have been all day. When we get through that, we can move to the next level, right? Zoom out, you look at it. In London, all right, that's the London low, all right? So this is currently acting as resistance. They're trying to hold short here. A pop through this can open the gate for this kind of move here. Otherwise, fail breakout, and you create this. All right, so there's two options available right now, which is why it is in a major battle. So it's looking like it wants to clear out these highs. ES stuck at VWAP. SPY at VWAP. QQQs are above their VWAPs. You need 350 to hold for that break of sort of 380, 400. If they cannot hold 350, I'd be very cautious about thinking this has potential. Again, nothing is confirmed. There's no break to the upside. There's no breakout retest right now. It's just trading in a range, back and forth and back and forth. Yes, rejecting so far its VWAP. VIX did manage to get a drive up there into its supply, hitting a high of 1930s, coming back and back testing now its previous day high. We are at precarious positions across the market right now. All right, just be careful with your sizing. If volatility starts to step in, we can get a giant move. If they start to aggressively take out one side, you can get a very large move. The more liquidity it builds, the bigger the move afterwards will be. really just like to see one side taken out first and then make a decision afterwards. Back to point of control on the hourly. There you go. So failed to break out from the upside there. Can still soak down here underneath VWAP if it wants. Again, this is all just a range this morning. All of this is just a range, and that is 100 points. Doesn't look like it, but it is 100 points. It's a huge move. All right, if you were one of the people that bought the highs without waiting for this, and you give back to here with one contract, it's $2,000 you're down. That's how big that is in 2 minutes. Right, so this is what I mean. You have to be careful with sizing. Just be patient. Let everyone else pay. Right? Let them get trapped. Let them get it wrong, and then join the trend after one side has been clearly taken out and we have a clear trend. 0 trades for me yet. Every time we drove into that London session low, we got rejected. We never got a clear breakout and retest. Rejecting the H1 imbalance. All that moved down. Would expect it to break previous day low now and come and drive lower. And then how we act after it's snapped the liquidity will become key, in my opinion. Whether we're going to try and trap shorts down there at the lows, or if we're going to have a continuation trade lower today, back down towards 21,000. New low of day there, not taking out previous day low yet. Big reaction. These candles are massive. ES did take out previous day low there. NQ did not. All right, so you have some divergence there. Getting this reaction off the low. Now 50 points, right? On a 1 minute candle, 50 points. That's what you're looking at. Flow zone's still flat. You would expect them to try and sell this up here to take out the previous day low. You'd expect this kind of move here right now, but the fact that ES swept previous day low and that these are bouncing so violently higher will have me a little bit spooked in this move, to be honest, as we trade back to midpoint of the range. There you go. So back towards the flow zones on an M1. I've got you on an M2 at the moment because it is so choppy. All right, I don't want you getting chopped up. Do they get stuck here and drive down for that low of day? For that bear flag type move? I don't know. They should do. In theory, that would be the traditional move down. Just the fact that ES is taking its PDL is tricky. There you go, squeezing all the way back up. Like I said, that was the issue, that ES had already taken out PDL. Makes it much, much harder for these moves downside once one of them has taken out a clear level of liquidity. Do they squeeze big time up now? It's possible. It is possible. Into VWAP here. VIX through 19s now. Telling you, if VIX starts breaking 1950, it's going to be a problem for this market. Fairly ugly action this morning, I would say. Looking to see if this is going to snap. No. Trying. There we go. So off flow zones. Got to be very, very careful here at mid-range. But watching the VIX, watching the ES, think this has a chance now to rotate down and take this out. But you have to be very cautious off this move here. Ugly, ugly action. Morning, Tyson. Okay, invalidating that trade now. So break even on that for me. Just tried a small size. Actually made a tiny bit of money, 38 bucks. ES protecting yet again. So even if this does the bear flag now, I won't be rejoining this. Giving it one go. It's a little bit messy in this range for me. I think the fact that it hasn't got stuck at VWAP and done that on the first reaction would be a concern. Still mixed bag in the market. Okay, so Tesla 0.8% up, Nvidia 2% up, Meta 0.7% down. Google just about red, flirting with its going green at the moment. Amazon 0.2% up, Microsoft 0.8% up, just under 1%, and Apple 0.5% red. All right, so a real mixed bag. They all look very, very similar to the NQ and the ES right now. They're all flirting with key levels between the pre-market lows and yesterday's close and pivots. Super, super ugly action this morning. All right, super ugly action. I'll show you just to show you. I've had one trade, all right, and that's it. It was a break even, but by the time it took me out, it gave me probably a tick or so of profit. Same thing here, right? The same thing. If it's going to do this, I'm going to look to join here or the move here. Be careful here of the bull trap for a rotation back downside. But clear liquidity is sat up here. And then through that, these levels, that will require shorts to be forced to cover. ES not at its VWAP yet either. I'll have more conviction if ES starts to break out through the VWAP. VIX back to 19 again. So VIX also just doing the dance on a 10-minute. Definite lack of momentum today in the market. If you're trying to join momentum when the flow zones are flat like this, you're asking for trouble. I mean, this looks barcodey, and this is on a 2-minute. I imagine on a 1-minute, even worse, probably. You'd imagine they will go and pop these stops through the 90s at some point. There's just so many built up into there. The edge of that H1. Pop those, and that should open the gate for the move to 450s. If they can sustain bids, right? Here's the pop, taking out all the liquidity. Now, the key now is it a sweep to turn back inside, or are they able to find bids above this? That's the key now. So thin on the book. Honestly, there's nothing notable on the book. But we are now starting to trade upside. We need to hold bids above these pivots, above previous day close. If it can't do that, then we probably roll straight back inside the range we created this morning. $400 coming up. I want to see it coming back test somewhere towards previous day close, right? Somewhere back here and hold it. Or the edge highs. Somewhere back towards 80s. Show me that it's actually strong. Mag 7 starting to try and go green then. All right, so Meta and Apple, the only ones red now. Everything else has gone red to green on the session. So here is the beginning of a back test. How deep is it going to go here before they try and find some bids? That's the question I'm posing. I'd like to see somewhere in here some bullish pattern and then drive up into there. It would be nice and easy. Failure of this will create rotation of a failed breakout. Not easy action this morning, and you need to be quick on the trigger. Right, you need to be light and nimble as well. Oh, just moved my chart the wrong way. There we go. All right, here's the first back test then. This is key now. Now, our bid's going to come in here and soak. Otherwise, we're going to have a failed breakout and a rotation lower. ES trading back to VWAP. Much deeper than this, and it's going to be problematic, I would say. VIX, though, letting go of previous day high. That's a good sign. Can the market get going here? Can it give a little bit of a squeeze up for a back test of key levels? Remember, that's all we're looking for. Looking for a drive higher to back test key levels. Fantastic. Just hit the wrong hotkey. Just took my order off. Oh. ES back to VWAP, back to its M5 flow zones. So far, no sustained bids. All right, no sustained bids. Haven't built the liquidity yet. You'll be looking for this move here for sustained bids. Sorry. Otherwise, rotation back in. Be careful if this is a fail break and a rotation back in. Book's very, very thin. All right, average order size that I'm seeing on the book is like a 20 lot. Remember, the last few days, it has been 100 lots that we've been able to aim for. Big, big difference. Big, big difference. All right, only half of you have hit that like button. Do me a favor, team. Hit that like button. It really helps drive the stream. We are just in a flat rotation day right now. Building liquidity. It feels like it's going to need to build liquidity. ES dangling it at its VWAP right now. NQ doing the same. VIX under previous day high. The question is really, is this going to be the start of a bull flag to trade higher and squeeze, or have we taken out all the liquidity necessary and they're just going to let it go, which is what it's starting to feel like. All right, so it failed breakout. Remember, this is the main part of the range here and here. So we failed underneath and we failed above, and we might just build more liquidity here till it makes a decision. So playing momentum today, very, very tricky. Nice rejection on the H1 so far. Back to point of control now. All right, so this H1 here came into this old imbalance from Asia London, value area high, didn't quite make the old point of control, which would have been the trade I wanted to take if we could sustain bids above 80 for a rotation up. Now back to current point of control. If it fails here, we probably dig a little bit lower and test the lows of the range. Otherwise, if it can hold, we're still thinking about potential bull flag to come and trade upside. But midpoint right now, 20 minutes until the IB is set. We've definitely got contracting range today. Traders probably very unsure right now. How far does this market want to backtest, or does it not want to at all? Or are we just going to gun for that 21,000? Very usual after a big sell-off day like yesterday to have a smaller day the next day. It's very, very common. $20 minutes until we get our IB set. Current range, 120 points. Morning, John. All right, so failure there then. So failed breakout of the high, failed through VWAP, coming back to test the low side of the range now. As we said, it would do one of those two things: either create that flag for a new squeeze up, or it'd be a failed breakout. ES didn't even make it that far. ES really struggling. And here you go. So diving back down, so probably trap bulls up here. So just range rotation right now. This is your range on the morning, right? Failed each side of it. Maybe Qs will now go for PDL. PDL coming up here then. There you go. So just took it by one tick there, literally by a tick. Nice reaction off it, that green line. You'd like to see them trade more than a tick through it, but this is the market right now. Our next break of that should allow it to come back down towards 250 and then 220s if it's going to do that. If we're just going to trade back upside, we're going to go back towards the VWAP again. Don't get chopped up, okay? Use small size if you're going to trade anything here. There's really no trades to take out here. Flow zones are still flat. VWAP still flat. We've taken both sides of the liquidity from internal range now. screen as fuzzy your end? It seems fine my end. Just check you're on 1080 or 4K or whatever it is, Jeff. So there's a cleaner break now of previous day low. Like we said, should now come down to 247 and then 220s. Is the bottom of the hourly range. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4 hours we've spent down here. Continues to break lower. That overnight low is sat there, or pre-market low. You can look for runners into that. If you took this break, I'm still not in anything here. $100 lot now just come on the book at 150. All right, much lower. He's just appeared on the book. Don't really want to be shorting low of day down here. Would like to see a nice drive up, build some liquidity, something to risk off. We'll need to stay heavy versus previous day low, in my opinion. But we'll need to stay heavy versus for any continuation. Can anyone confirm that the screen is still clean? I know Jeff's saying he have some issues, but it looks fine my end. Okay, so you'd want to see it stay heavy versus here. Trade back inside there. I'd be very careful about a liquidity sweep and a drive higher. Remember, you're still in range. We haven't taken out the overnight low yet. 21,220 is the next level that it can go and search for. ES starting to do that move already. Double bottom there on ES now into that overnight low. We'd really like a drive back up, build a bear flag or something. We start reclaiming key levels, then we're going to just continue to trade back and forwards in the range that we created this morning, just extending each side. We've now taken most of the liquidity each side. Other than that, oh, what have I just done there? Wrong screen. Other than that 2220 level. So close to going and taking all that liquidity. It's odd that it hasn't. Maybe one drive higher into previous day low and then see if they come back in there and sell it for that move back down, for a bear flag back down to take out this low here. So here's the tap into previous day low here, then squeeze relief. Now let's see if they sell this now for a new move down. Otherwise, you need to be very cautious if they start reclaiming, okay, remember we're still in a range trade technically. We've extended that range to the downside. You have 12 minutes left until the initial balance. If too many shorts chase down there, then it is going to be problematic. If they stay heavy versus previous day low, there is a chance to still move lower. You're in higher time frame demand levels. You can see it on the H1. Very, very key level. I really would like to see this just reject and then come down underneath 220s. It would give a nice trade if it does that. If it keeps reclaiming and driving upside, that trade thesis is gone. All right, so we will need to see a bear flag be built out here. Any sort of V-shaped recovery or something like that would be extremely nasty, but I've seen the market do weirder things. So back towards flow zones on an M1 here. M2, you have a bit further to go. Previous day low here. And on ES, the same previous day low. And the VIX now, 1922. Had another attempt at 1950 and failed. Starting to reclaim previous day low. So this is the thing that would worry me here. You would need to see a rejection here into 300, that whole number. Failure to do that could be nasty. Still thin on the book. Seller at 312, only a 20 lot, and then a 60 lot up at 387. Right back towards the highs. All right, so question we're posing here is, do they build a bear flag? We've only really had one dump down. We haven't had that bear flag to retest at least what we've done. All right, can we build a bear flag to at least retest this, and maybe a break of structure down into here would be nice. Otherwise, if they keep holding this, this is a gross move. There we go. Can we get a breakdown here? Looking good, beautiful. Nice reaction. Just trailing my stop aggressively in case buyers come back in here, taking some partials into this level. Remember, we're retesting this low here. If we break this low, you get a break of structure. We're going to aim for this liquidity. All right, if we break this low, you get a break of structure. I'm protecting some into here. And then we're looking for this, and then a dump down if we break that structure down there. We know lots of buyers are down here. If we break that, we have chance to move lower. You can see this better if I move to an H1 here. Managing my stop here while we're talking. All right, you can see this better in the H1. We're in a demand block. We have all these stops here and these guys here. So a run of this becomes possible. All right. About to get runners off break even here versus PDL. Very, very close to stopping out break even on the rest. All right, break even on the rest just tagged me. Probably goes lower now, but there we go. So small trade there. Like I said, I'm just trading smaller size today. Just being a little bit careful. Can always re-enter. If they keep staying heavy, I can... sorry, let's move. Make sure you're on the right stream. If they keep staying heavy... Oh, I'm struggling today. They keep staying heavy versus flow zones. All right, then this move here. Hopefully some of you are still in this. Maybe I had my stop a little bit too tight into PDL. It took me out by, what, a wick? Oh, yeah, it's going to do it now. Beautiful. All right, so congratulations if you've stayed in this. Make sure you're paying yourself. All right, you're looking for a snap of the current low and then a snap of 220, and then you can hold your runners, all right? It is possible it searches for 21K today if it really, really wants to snap lower, but you should not be adding low. So at least we've had one good trade today. Even this right here has offered you 50 points already. It's absolutely insane. Just make sure you are at least paying yourself a little bit of money, all right? You know that we've been in a range today. You know that the market's searching for liquidity and creating liquidity. Don't get yourself in a position where you're up big and not paying yourself any money. Right? Make sure you're paying yourself some money. Bear with me. I'm going to get a coffee, and when I come back, I want to see lots of W's in chat. All right, I'm back. All right, so failure to break out to the downside. Like I said, you have to pay yourself in this market. Hopefully some of you locked in some profits there. Let me know if you did. Jacob one up with a W, TR with a W. All right, and there's the squeeze relief. So the failure to get that break of structured downside, failure to take out this meant shorts entered down here and didn't get that. So now they are stopping out here for a drive back up. We can think about this in terms of a fib now of where it might come back up to. There's the 50% move. So it's already retraced 50. It's still possible this wants to move lower. The question is, do sellers come back in? But again, your range is here to here, and this is failure. And so far, this is failure. And we're 5 minutes away from an initial balance now as well. All right, so just in range rotation day, 175 points range. It's, sorry, clean my language up, almost swore there. It is very large range for range rotation. All right. Go back 8 weeks, range rotation would be 60, 70 points, not 175 points. If we had an initial balance of 100 points, we were happy, right? And that was on a trend day. We now have an initial balance of 175 points on a range rotation day. It's wild, absolutely wild. Those of you who are in Los Angeles with me, just a heads up, I just spoke to my wife now. She just went out to get some petrol. Be very careful going outside, all right? It's very hard to breathe. It will make your eyes sting. So make sure you are wearing a mask and maybe glasses if you have some. Lots of ash in the air. Not very good for you. Definitely not good for your pets either. In Santa Monica at Apple Fitness. Playa Vista, Jack. Live in Playa Vista. So just one over from, well, you know it, you live here. Just one over from Venice and Marina del Rey. All right, so trading back up towards view up here. ES not doing that move yet. All right, ES looks much weaker on an M5. But all of these markets have taken out previous day low. Look at the VIX, right? VIX is testing over and over again for that drive towards 1950. Lots of supply up here, but if it keeps basing up here and makes that break, it can go higher. So tempting to take another trade here. Was that the squeeze out needed? Let's measure this again. It's tricky here because you've got a low, high, 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 low, but I still think versus this is this potential, but I will just wait. I'll let sellers come in and build this liquidity down here now for a rotation if it's really going to do it. I do not want to get stuck midpoint of the range today. 2 minutes left until that initial balance. Gut says this wants to move lower still after a squeeze out, but We don't trade on gut. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I buy gas. Yeah, you're right. I've always found that weird. Foster Scott, morning, buddy. Back to previous day low here. ES looking so weak. So weak by comparison. It is a bit messy, even if you look at like this right now. Let me move this up for you. All right, you can see how messy this is. So most of the range was created around here. Failed breakout here. We have broken out to the downside, taken this liquidity, not taking this liquidity. Does it backtest this now? Is this a new lower high to go lower on an M5? That's what I'm feeling is going to happen. So maybe a 2-try. 1, 2, get stuck here, reject. This would be the easier play. If it starts to do this, it's going to make it really, really hard to get involved with anything. It's hard anyway, given the size of these moves, to be honest. And the fact that it came so close to taking out that low at 2, what was the actual low? 221, and we traded into 231, so we missed it by 10 points. And ES took it, so we had divergence there again. It's definitely not an easy market today, guys. VIX going for it again, 1925 now. It's trying to build up to take out its IB high and the 1950s. That break will open the gate for a squeeze higher on the VIX, which will be a dump lower on the market if it can do it. If we hold this initial balance, the IB low trade to VWAP is often done. And then if we get through that to the IB high, and then either a breakout above for a trend sequence or a failed breakout for a failed auction and back down to VWAP. Right, so IB rules now apply. Those of you who trade with me every day will know how well we trade these IBs. Yesterday, I called a squeeze back to IB in the afternoon, and we got a nice failure off that for those of you in Discord. Let's go back. Yesterday, this move here was a simple squeeze, right? So we swept below, squeeze here, buy signal, back to the IB, failure in an IB, and then we rotated lower. Here I was thinking maybe they would try and hold this for a new squeeze up, but they didn't, and they just did a complete liquidation event. Dumped on all the bulls, all right? So IB has become very useful for trend days, levels to risk off, and for rotation days of knowing when we're just going to go back and forwards. Remember, you don't need to trade every single day. If you are not enjoying this market, if this is very, very tricky for you, which would not surprise me at all, it's okay not to take any trades, right? Or wait for later. Sorry to hear that, Edwin. Yeah, opening range breaks, you have to be fairly aggressive with taking profits. And they work really nice when one side is very, very clearly trapped, which is why the last few days they've worked very, very good. So if you took that opening range break to the downside yesterday, you got paid for it after sweep of the liquidity. Sellers keep coming in here. I wonder if this is that 2-try fail and a sell move, even though lower time frame is in a buy pattern, higher time frame says lower to me. Just dancing at PDL. You have to wait here. Wow. just the speed at which we reprice like 20, 30 points is nuts. Absolutely nuts. Right, seller up at 400, not anything with notable size really. So we're talking about 1450 lots up around 400, 412, 425s, 450s, 500. So that would be that back test level we were talking about this morning for that breakout of 390 if they're going to do that move. I'm still open to do that move higher, right? I'm not fixed on the short. If they want to do this move above here and auction above and take all of this out, I'm fine with that. I know this is where supply is. I'm absolutely happy to join that move. But right now it's hard to give thesis of it wanting to do that. Just sat on hands here. We're currently trading inside previous day. All right, so we swept previous day low and we're trading back inside. So all the time we are inside here. All right, potential that shorts can get trapped here. All right, breakout shorts on daily time frames. But really versus here is key. Previous day close. Right, this is possible for daily traders. I'm talking about traders trading off daily charts. There are a lot of traders who will trade breakouts versus previous day high, low, open and close on daily charts, which is why we watch that weekly model. The weekly model, if we keep trading inside, everyone can think about that weekly model versus Tuesday low. You know what we're going to be looking at. If we fail to get breakouts outside of Tuesday's low, you know what we're looking at. Okay, so IB back to VWAP then. All right, this play yet again, back to VWAP. Failure to break down, failure to do this, so no trade taken here, and squeeze relief up. So the question is now, I'm going to watch VIX getting absolutely hammered there, sub 19. That was very, very quick. All right, so are they now going to let this through and search for that liquidity we talked about in the book, up above 400, 410, 425, 450? Yeah, exactly, Scott. Weekly model. Notice the volume coming in then. Big buying volume or short covering volume coming in there. Notable volume, biggest bar of the day. Someone definitely forced to cover there. So trading back inside the weekly model. All right, trading back inside. If we start to reprice higher, we know shorts will be stuck versus low of day. Sorry, team, I've got a load of text coming through. Just need to check these out. No, not really, Foster Scott. They're going to get worse today, apparently. I mean, they don't sound as bad as they did last night. Last night was horrendous, but it's so grey with smoke outside. It's terrible. Appreciate that, buddy. Yeah, I think we're all good. We're packed. We've got our emergency bags packed. The car's full of gas in case. Touch wood, it's not going to quite make it to us. But definitely some friends badly affected. Yeah, it's kind of wild to see it look like that outside. Appreciate that, mate. Honestly, I think we're going to be okay. Like, unless the winds really pick up, I think it's going to be hard for those fires to get through concrete as much. Basically, up towards Palisades, everything's wooden houses because of the earthquakes. They build them more by wood, and obviously lots of forest up there and very, very dry. As you start to get into Santa Monica, Marina del Rey, and stuff, you get more concrete-based structures, which would take a lot longer to burn. So hopefully, yeah, exactly. Santa Ana wins exactly that. 100 mph last night they got up to. Absolutely nuts. Even outside where I live, yeah, it's true. Jake can one up. It's true. They are out of water. Didn't replenish reserves and they're out of water. It's been a very, very dry year. This time last year, it was raining for the first 2 months, which is not normal in LA, but it's so dry this year. There's no snow on the caps up in the mountains. Normally, I've been snowboarding from November onwards. There's nothing up there, so it's really, really dry. Yeah, we need rain. Exactly. We need some rain. Last year was really good. It was wet. January to March was really wet, and it was good for. It was good to prevent stuff like this. All right, back to VWAP. If they hold VWAP here, maybe we trade back up to the IBH. ES into VWAP here as well. Remember that main trend on a 5-minute is still downside, but we're still trading inside of range, rotating backwards and forwards in a 175-point range. So your trades here, here's your continuation. It either does that. If it fails and comes down here, then we get this move here. Pretty hard to, I would say, to time this today. You have to be very, very picky. Use wider stops and less size and be aggressive with taking profits. Yes, getting slammed off that VWAP. Might move this to a 2-minute just to clean it up a little bit here. All right, so if they break down under here, they can search for this versus here. If they soak, this is your structure. All right, if they soak this, we return into here, take this out, squeeze into this. Very tricky team, very, very tricky. Edges paying today until proves otherwise. Range rotation, you're not looking for trades. You're not looking for trend trades. You're looking for edges to pay. It's nuts here because even if you wanted to take a short versus VWAP, your entry would be 40. You'd need to risk 70. So even on that tiny move, you'd need a 30-point stop. And if you were bullish and entering here in the imbalance, you'd need to be risking down to 80 or 78. So back to previous day low on the ES. We're just in range rotation. Just be aware of the market you're in. We are not in a trend until the market can break out of these. We are in range rotation. This is where it builds liquidity. It gets everyone pissed off. It makes them stop out, makes them oversize. It makes them leave all their stops in. And then we raid those stops to do the next moves. Understand the type of market conditions. You don't need to trade every single trade. You don't need to trade every single day. You need to execute like a sniper when it's high probability. This is not high probability right now. 50% extension of the initial balance is the other side of the H4 supply on ES. Yeah, I see what you're talking about. Up into 970. So I just had to draw that out. And then the 100% would be back to IBL of yesterday, basically, interestingly enough. They're trying to hold this structure here. They fail, we do this. If they hold, we do this. Two options available. Two options have been available all day, basically, because we're not clear in trend. Gut still says downside. It said downside the whole time because we didn't sweep everything, but the ES did sweep everything, so it's tricky. We're probably a mixed board. Let's have a little look while I've got you here. Yeah, so mixed board. Big tech looking not too bad. Everything else kind of red. Healthcare mixed. Utilities red. Basics green. Financials mixed. Social media red. Yeah, big mixed board. Non-directional. You've just got to understand that the market can't always trend. Right? We need to build liquidity. It's so important. These liquidity building sessions are really important for those bigger moves that we get. Really, really important. It's okay to just sit it out. If you're good at trading range, you can trade the edges. Yeah. I don't love trading range. I'm going to be honest. I love trend trading up to clear liquidity targets. That's what I love trading. Those are where I make all my money. Yesterday, prime example of that. Day before, prime example of that. Inside bar days, less interested. Especially in the structure of this current IB. It's not like we swept this and failed here for this. All right, there is nothing to play off here. It was a straight fail. Didn't sweep underneath. Trade back up to VWAP. My feeling is we want to do this, but lower time frame structure is not agreeing with what my feeling is. So I need to obey. You know, 15 minutes until an H1. Look at the H1 candles. They're a little bit messy, aren't they? Look at these. These in here. 1, 2, 3, 4 hours here. This is a new 4-hour bar. Wicks both sides. It's kind of ugly. So that means it needs to build liquidity. I would hazard a guess. Most good prop traders across the market are kind of flat right now. They're not really executing anything. They were probably short all of yesterday's session and they started to cover. And then we're probably not at a level that they're interested in. All the time 21K is there. They're probably waiting for a rotation down into that and the lower Bollinger Bands on the daily for them to think about, even think about potentially buying. And even then they would be counter trend, right? Rotation back down. This low, this Bollinger Band. Probable move if we're going to extend the weekly range. If we're not going to extend the weekly range, trading back into here in this session or the next session is probable. Looks like my gut feeling it might pay out here, but obviously not taking a trade based on gut feelings. Notice again, the flow zones, we can go down to 1 minute if you want. The flow zones are flat. Right, this is when I don't like executing. Flow zones, deep pullback, VWAP, everything not too far away and flat, but it looks like my gut feeling was right here. Looks like we're about to start breaking down and rotating. And if we do that, we're thinking about these moves here to get stuck, previous day low, and then down into this. Even if I have the direction right, there's no setup here really for me to take it. It's why I'm flat, sitting on hands. Crawford, good morning. You haven't missed much. A couple of scalps, that's been it. Just trading one account today. For those wondering why, the fires and winds in Los Angeles means there's a very, very good chance that my power goes out at some point today. So the last thing I want to do is trade all my accounts linked, be in a position and have the power go out. Yeah, I love retests of breaks, TR. I love retests of breaks. Or if I'm playing a reversal, I don't need that. If I have, let's say this morning we did this and a drive down and then this. All right, I love getting in for these moves back up to search for liquidity. Once one side's been taken out, that's also fine with me. Inverse head and shoulders is fine with me. Yeah, I'm not a breakout trader. I will not trade breakouts. I'll take retests of breakouts, or I will trade liquidity built after a breakout. So let's say this supply here. All right, let's just say breakout traders come in here. I will either take this here, or even IB this here, but I will not take the break. If I miss that, all right, if it just keeps going higher and higher, that's all right. I'll wait for my flow zones to catch up, and I'll take a second test. Ideally not a third test, right? I like second tests. Third test, higher risk then. As long as there's liquidity to search for, that's the key to how I trade. There has to be liquidity to search for. If there's no liquidity for a move, then I have less of a thesis. I need to have a magnet for the market to want to drive towards. Now, any of you who have got level 2 up, or have got the book map or the DOM up, have a look at the book today. Compare the book today to the last few days. Right, looking above us, 40 lot at 400, 20 lot at 412, and a 60 lot at 450. Yesterday, you had 100 lot, 200 lot, 150 lot, 180 lot. Big pools of liquidity to aim for acting as magnets. Today, none of that. Right, they are probably in swing positions from yesterday that they started to cover. So there's no reason for them. If you were a short seller yesterday, go to the higher time frame. You were a short seller yesterday. All right, you were short here, and you might have added here. Is there a reason to get short today down here, or are you better off leaving your average nice and high up here near 640? If you're thinking that we're going to drive down towards this, you're just waiting for the market to collapse. You don't need to add pressure onto this. You can just let it do it, because even if it comes back up, you're still in the money. If you add too heavy down here and it does this, you get forced to squeeze out. That's where the problems come in. That's why there's no liquidity in the book today, because they're letting lower time frame traders trap themselves. There you go. Thank God I don't trade off my gut, because I would be getting squeezed out right now. Thank God I trade a system. All right, so we held here. Like I said, structure was this. My gut said we'd go lower, but I obey structure, so there was a no trade for me. And now they're looking to retest. You like how I explained it, what the high time frame traders kind of scenario. Yeah. But also you got to think about, if they want to add aggressively, they need all this built up, right? Once we have a session built up here and we get a new breakdown, they know there's X amount of tens of thousands of contracts in here. If we get a liquidation break, they get that sharp move down. Right? So that's why we have to build liquidity. Market cannot just move straight up and straight down. It cannot do that. Remember, when it's moving because you have either breakout traders in the market, or you have traders who are stuck in the market. Yeah, exactly. Let the lower time frame traders trap themselves. That's exactly it. So just like, just zoom up here for a minute. All right, this is what we have so far. From the start of the year, or just before the start of the year, I'm just talking about the most recent pivot. So I'm going to talk about, what is this date? Is it Jan 2nd? Anyone know how to get the dates back on TradingView? It's really annoying. Okay, 6th. All right, let's imagine this is the pin high at the 6th. Okay, so this is the 6th up here, right? Breakout buyers came in the market here. We traded sideways, we liquidate them. Shorts, higher time frame shorts enter the market knowing buyers are trapped up here, right? We have a huge liquidation event yesterday. We peter out a little bit here, trap more lower time frame buyers as we trade back towards the initial balance who are looking to buy back high, and we liquidate them more. Okay, so short average is probably here, high time frame short average, because they added here, they probably added here, their average is up here, for example, in this leg of the move. Now they need lower time frame traders, again, create liquidity. Maybe they even come and back test. If they do that, maybe they add position, and then we liquidate them again and go down. But all the time their average is up here, they can afford to cover some positions here and still be in the money. The only traders who will struggle with that are people playing options when they have to deal with the Greeks. But everyone playing futures should be comfortable in the money. Same in the ETFs. If they're playing commons in the ETFs, they should be comfortable in the money. Greeks are on options, so like theta, decay, all these things. Right, so you can hold a position which is going in your direction, but if it takes too long to get into your direction, you won't make any money. That is the trouble with options. That's why they're mainly used as a hedge. There's a good chance of a back test at some point on this high time frame. As I zoom out and look at this, and look at the key levels, there is more than enough room, whether it's today or another day, to do a test up into here and then a leg down. Would still be pinning higher time frame, lower highs. Doesn't feel like it wants to do that move today. Yeah, same TR. I don't trade options, never have. I don't like the Greeks. I don't like the idea of holding positions flat or very slightly in the money and losing money on them. It's not something I want to do. I don't want anything like that, any arbitrage. I want exact price action like I would if I was trading commons. I want to get paid per tick. That's just me personally. There are some amazing option traders out there. There are lots of people who have started to trade more and more options on the futures market. And if any of you follow Anthony Crudelli, he's now part of the team at Ninja Trader, but he trades options on the ES. That's his main thing. He said, still be building higher lows in the lower time frame here. He's trying to build this move here for this squeeze out. That's what he's trying to do right now. Like I said, good. Thank God I ignore my gut feelings. This is why we trade systems, not what we feel. Because I would definitely have got stopped out there and lost some decent money. VIX now really starting to break down, 1850. All right, it's opening up the possibility of this market moving higher here. Failed to break out of 1950. It had numerous attempts up there and failed. Yeah, first red day yesterday, but you know, we have the option of back testing inside. All right, the daily has the option of back testing inside. Remember, we can do this, close up here or test up here today, and then tomorrow break down if it wants to, or Friday break down, unless that report of non-farms is really good and triggers something nasty. But we are very cautious versus this level. Those who've done the course will know why. This is the key level right here. Previous day low is the key on the week now. VIX really starting to let go here. So remember, you're still in initial balance conditions, okay? You still have the edge of the range in the initial balance. Right, so we're not in a trend unless we're above or below these. If you get above this, you have supply right here. All right, so maybe a quick tag in. It could do that in seconds and come back down, honestly. That's the kind of market we're in. Look at the size of this candle. If you put that here, that would be a stop run into supply, and it could easily reject that. So I'm going to wait now to see how we react. If we get to the IB high, if we're going to do a failed auction of the IB high, or if we're going to be able to base above and start chomping upside. Just going to wait for those. Quick look back at the Mag 7 then. Apple now up 0.5%. Microsoft almost 1% up. Amazon 0.25% down. Google 0.5% down. Meta 1.5% down. Nvidia just about green, 0.1% up, holding on to its gains as much as it can. And Tesla 0.25% up. Right, very mixed bag across the board. ES getting stuck at its higher time frame algo, lower time frame algo. Q's doing the same, trading into that lower time frame algo. Still building out the possible of that lower time frame sort of cup here. Flat top here. This is what it's going to try and use as the stops to go up. Again, if it fails this, sort of have this is your trend in this session since the IB low. Again, like I said, anything between these is the building of liquidity. This is where it builds stops into the market. Do you need to trade this? That's what you have to ask yourself. For me, I don't need to trade this. I will happily wait until we get outside of these. And if it doesn't come today, I'll wait for tomorrow. or probably Friday with tomorrow being closed. And practice patience and know when to execute. All right, there's a reason you're learning to do this as a skill or a job, so that you don't need to be a slave to the charts. Don't replace your 9 to 5 with sitting in front of the screen pushing buttons. You might as well be at a 9 to 5 then. If you don't know what your key setups are, you have no edge in the market. I know what my good setups are. I know the days where I will have good green. I know the days where I'm likely to get chopped up. I know the time of day I am likely to get chopped up. All right, these sessions here right in front of me are the type of conditions I'm likely to lose money in. Do not need to trade everything. That doesn't mean you have the same stats as me. Know your stats. All right, I have a lack of edge when we trade sideways inside initial balance. I need one side trapped. All right, that's how I like to trade. If one side is definitely trapped in the market, it becomes so obvious where their pain point is, and then I can execute. If shorts get trapped in this market, I will look to trade upside and run them out for max pain. If longs get stuck in this market, I will look to execute downside and keep trading until they completely liquidate, which is what we had yesterday. All right, that was a downside liquidation, bulls getting absolutely smoked. That's why we're lacking the ability to go any lower right now, because we need to build more bulls into the market if we're going to do that. It's like magic. Just breakfast just turns up like that. Amazing. I'm going to give my eyes a rest from the screens for a second. Absolute no interest in trading this. None whatsoever for me. TR. You need to get a wife or a partner to do that. I'm very lucky. Get well looked after. I cannot believe what it looks like outside here. It's like something from a zombie apocalypse. It's so grey, which is so unusual. So coming back down towards previous day low yet again, stuck at previous day close, just trapping between back and forth and back and forth. These might not look like big moves, but like I keep saying, even from PDL to this high, this is 100 points. Right? 100 points. One contract, that's $2,000. Stuck versus this, liquidating these bulls now. Maybe we get this move coming. Maybe. VIX finding a bid there as well. The VIX trying to reclaim previous day high here. This would be key. If VIX can reclaim previous day high and drive back through 19s, that will be key for the market. Idris says, escape from California while I can. Do you mean because of the fires, or do you just mean like in general, just escape from there? Lots of people hate California, don't they? I love it here. I think it's a cool spot. Yeah, maybe you're right. Why do you say that? What makes you say that, Idris? I'm not saying you're wrong, I'm just interested. Yeah, it's nice down here, man. Sunny most of the year round. Normal years you get to ski as well. There's surf. People generally are pretty nice. It's really expensive though. Next year is the year of fire. Oh, interesting. What a tease this market is. Look at this. Just imagine you a bull here playing for this and you got wrecked, and then you're like, well, maybe we break down here, and you take this and you get stopped out already. Maybe now it breaks down and then it comes back up. This is what I mean about the lower time frame traders. They will become the liquidity for the higher time frame traders once they've built enough of them in. Yeah, exactly, Tia. Especially up in the mountains, people don't understand that. You're so right. I looked at Florida, but the hurricane and wet season is a nightmare, especially like for houses. They're so cheap now because they're like uninsurable. And the surf there, no good. My wife would get really annoyed. All the bull sharks. But financially, much better. Taxation, much better. Cost of living, much better. Very, very expensive here. Completely out of sync. The price of basics in America is just insane. Absolutely insane. I was explaining it to my in-laws and my best mate the other day that like basic deodorant in England we'd call it Lynx. Here I think it's called Axe. In England that would be 99p. It'd be sub £1. In CVS over here it's $9, and it's locked away because they're scared of people stealing it. I mean, that is madness. Aaron, I haven't used Renko's. I have an old friend who trades with Renko's. I don't use them, but I can set you up with them if you need. I have a package for them that he gave me a long time ago. Good for momentum reads, staying in the market. You can also use Heikin-Ashi for those if you are interested. Where would these be? Here. All right, they're quite good for momentum. You want long wicks to the downside, all right, in Heikin-Ashi, instead of showing it soaking, they're better at showing momentum. I used to trade Heikin-Ashi a lot. Very good for this move here. This would have made you stay the whole way in until you have a break of a green bar. But you've got to remember with Heikin-Ashi, here's your Renko chart. Messy today. All the charts will be messy today. You've got to remember with Heikin-Ashi, it's not quoting you a true price. So if you try and market fill in, you will get filled at the wrong price. It's just the way it calculates it is different. What, back in the UK, Aaron? You come here, mate. I'll show you expensive. Every member of family or friend that's visited here cannot believe it. It is wild. Dry links. What's dry links? Do you mean the roll on, or is that something different? Cost of living here is nuts. Even not just rent, just the basics, food, health insurance. It's not sustainable. They've got to change it. All right, so like we just said, more trapping. Fail down to here, soak off here, back upside, new range being created here in the midpoint of the initial balance. All right, failures each side. Now they build liquidity, and they'll probably run some of these stops each side at some point today. Haircuts, so I don't get haircuts. That's why I've got long hair. Cheapskate, mate. That's why I've got long hair. I haven't had a proper haircut for about a year now, something like that. Back in London, I used to get like a skin up number 2 fade for like 10 quid, 15 quid, East London. I think a posher one, let's call it, posher, at like somewhere like Jack the Clippers was like 25 bucks, like a really good Turkish barber. They don't have those here. Well, I haven't found any. I'm sure they've got them in New York and stuff, but in Los Angeles, I haven't found a good Turkish barber. I do miss that, like walking in, having a beer, and having a proper decent haircut. Talking football was good. Oh, TR, I've never seen that here, TR. Never seen it. More chop then, just more chop, 100-point range, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. As you can see, I have zero interest in trading this. Look at all the flow zones, right? Look at everything. There's nothing here. If I just move this, let's move it to a line chart to clear it up. Look how flat everything is. Compare that to when we're in a nice trending market. We get nice separation, clear signals, clear areas to aim for. Even this is a little bit better. We can look at yesterday, another prime example yesterday. Nice separation once we start to sell. Tightened range overnight, snap of that range, separation. These are the markets I want to trade. These, nice, clear, and obvious. Right now, we are trapping. Look how many signals. I think one of you I went over this with in private chat yesterday. This will keep printing signals constantly, but you have to understand we're inside IB. All right, edges will pay. This is just here to create liquidity. So for me, it's a no trade scenario. You don't have to trade like me though. If you like trading ranges, if you're happy playing like this edge to this edge, by all means do it. It's just not my preferred method. Yeah, Jack the Clipper, so good. And the original one is in like Shoreditch, Liverpool Street, which is where Jack the Ripper, right on the street where he committed a lot of those crimes, which is why it's called Jack the Clippers. But I think it's they've probably got 5 or 6 of them now. Cool name though. Remember back in the day, I was going in there for a cut, and my wife was like, "Oh, I'll come in there with you," and I was like, "No, it's like forbidden. You can't go into a gents barber as a woman. Like, it won't go down well." That's where everyone's using it as therapy to say everything they're going through. And then she came in with me and lasted about 30 seconds from the death stares from all the other guys and had to leave. TR, I'm short oil. What, you're short crude? CL? I haven't had a look at that. Oh, nice. There you go. Look at the difference. There you go. So TR saying he's been short oil. Look at the difference. Stuck underneath VWAP, stuck underneath flow zones, rejection of the IB high, creation of liquidity underneath IBL, trend day lower. All right, that's the difference between nice setups and not nice setups right there. Beautiful trade. Oh yeah, big time. Yeah, Primrose over by Notting Hill. It's a cool spot. It's a cool spot, West London. Nice, TR, you're good. It's a good call. It's a nice trade. Very nice trade. Nice market that on oil. I never trade oil, so I never look at it. That's a good trade. All the FX futures getting absolutely hammered today. Oh, it's good. I mean, I used to be like that, and I just would struggle to flip between them all. And I feel like in futures, I'd really struggle because of the tick value being different. I think that I'd really struggle to quickly do that. I'd have to set up some like hotkeys for each market to trade ES differently, to NQ, to gold, to oil, just to make sure my sizing was correct. Yeah, exactly. All right, so they're going to have another go at driving higher again. This here is where the stops are. If they take this up, maybe they can squeeze to this. If they take this up, they can squeeze into that supply. And still, every time it's come up there, it's found sellers so far this morning. They're on the book there again. Small size, but there is a 60 lot. That's the biggest lot on the book. Can't believe I'm saying that. A 60 lot up at 450. That is the biggest lot on the book. That is into this supply right here, 450. I would say it's fairly unlikely I execute another trade today. You never know, though. Maybe we get going. So reclaiming VWAP up here. Across the indexes, ES and NQ, QQQ, and SPY reclaiming VWAP up. I'm going to try and drive up towards that supply and the 5-day moving averages. Volume starting to step in here as well. Notice this uptick in volume here, starting to step in. Right, we're trading through these stops now. Can we take them out and trigger a squeeze higher? Or are we just going to do the same thing over and over again and clear some and return back into range? Genuinely don't know. VIX breaking down 1850 now, sub 1850, trading at 1839. NQ just swept most of that liquidity other than that bar at 1038 is left. So those of you who trade or have traded crude, do you think it's a smoother trader? I've never watched the crude market. Never ever watched it. I think it's a good trader. I know gold respects higher time frame S&R really, really well. Been very tempted to trade gold multiple times. NQ, I think, is probably what pays out the quickest, but is probably one of the worst traders. I think NQ will extend through stops more violently than some of the other markets. Oil can be trappy. I think all markets can be trappy. Just depends on the range. Like NQ can literally run a stop by 100 points right now in this market. Which is why I will never, ever, ever pick a top and a bottom. And I think NQ is one of the worst. If you're someone who picks tops and bottoms, NQ will punish you more than anything else. All right, I've got to take this call, people. Bear with me. Appreciate your patience there, team. CC, the best market for tops and bottoms. I absolutely agree with Mindful Matters there. None, right? It's not. It's honestly the easiest way to give away money. The easiest way to do it. If I'm looking for a short, I need to see a lower high. If I'm looking for a long, I need to see a higher low. It's as simple as that. If I'm not seeing that, I'm probably the wrong side of a trade. The market's super slow right now, so if you'd prefer to like talk about something else for the next half an hour or something, if there's a part of trading you want to look at instead or short lesson, let me know. We are just pinned in here. Again, here we've just swept all these stops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and this guy here, and we just swept it, and now we're coming back inside. So do they hold this and have another attempt, or do they now come back down for these guys here, these buyers stops, all these guys here? Do they come back down and take these? Again, I don't know what they want to do. I'm not interested in trading any of this. Sticking to my rules. My rules clearly say we're inside initial balance, building liquidity. Do I have interest in trading this? No, I do not. And that's all right. Even if I was flat on the day and made no money, I really don't care. The red line, what's life like outside of trading? That's a good question. Pretty simple, I would say. Pretty simple. Pretty simple, fairly comfortable, pretty healthy. Go to the gym 4 or 5 times a week. And still make music. Still have some clients I make music for. Those of you who didn't know, that was my background. I was a touring act for many, many years, signed to some pretty big labels, and still do a bit of consultancy to help others with their music. Even my old business partner, still help him. Yeah, full-time trader, persistent pays. Can we get music in here in the future streams as it grows? Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to put music in here. I put it to a vote a while ago, and most people voted no, because I think a lot of you probably play your own music outside of the stream. But I don't mind either way. Makes no difference to me. There you go, no. See? And that's fine with me. I totally understand that. When I have music playing in the backgrounds, it's normally like smoky blues and stuff like that, just nice calming music. Jim Bennett, just starting the class. Is TradingView 10-minute delayed? Let me go up. Unless you go on paid programs, I couldn't find NinjaTrader on TradingView. Right. So TradingView, if you want to trade live on TradingView, you will need to either pay for CME data, which I think someone can correct me. It's probably like $5 a month, something like that. Or you can go and do a plan with someone. You might as well do the cheapest thing possible, like a $25,000 account, and just use that as the data feed. NinjaTrader is completely different to TradingView, right? So NinjaTrader is its own charting and executing platform. So TradingView is what you see here, right? And then NinjaTrader is over here. So this is what I execute my trades on. 2 different things. Yeah, capped. I agree. See, everyone saying I'm a no vote. I'm good with that. No vote's good with me. Redline. What genre of music? What do you mean that I used to make? I was into house. That's what I made. Various forms of house. Now I make all sorts. Meditative music, chill out music. Yeah, that's what I listen to now. Capped. I like blues, less so jazz, but like smoky bluesy rock in the background. Something like guitar and piano based, not too many vocals. Okay, so there you go. Who was asking that question? I've got to go up. Jim. So Crawford, our Crawford's just answered it for you. $12 for CME. $12 for CME data. All right, so they're continuing to try and hold this now. This is what they're trying to do. Can they do it? Sellers have been here all day. If they actually do this, this is the target. Very, very choppy action. Lacks momentum. Yeah, so outside of trading, that's kind of my life. I used to surf a lot more. I don't really surf too much now. Like going on holiday and traveling, reading lots of books, spending time with mates and my dog. Same as most people. Love my sport. Absolutely love my sport. Just finished last night. Actually did it in one go. I watched the latest season of Coach Prime. Love that guy. Love that series. Yeah, exactly. If you chart and trading view, you need the paid feeds. If you look at high time frame stuff, it's very different from the standard. Yeah, I mean, I pay for data on CME, but you can do it. I think if you even if you fund an account, even with like $10 on TradeStation, you used to be able to get CME data for free then. So that's the other option. Do you know what, Redline? We bought a pickleball set and I haven't played, and I've got loads of courts here. I would love to play pickleball. I would just need to get some contact lenses. It's on my list. I've never worn contacts, but my eyes get so tired. Like these glasses, all the glasses I wear are so heavy and I can't see anymore. I was thinking that the other day. If I played rugby, I'd get absolutely annihilated now because I wouldn't see the tackle coming. AMP Futures and I'm bringing two brokers I know that will give you live CME data on a demo account. AMP, I believe, is free on TradingView, among other choices. There you go. So Luigi helping you out there. So if you use AMP Futures and set up a demo account, you can link that down the bottom. Once you go to Trading Panel, you could link that down and then link your demo account and you'll have live data. That's a good way of doing it. Thank you, Luigi. That's super helpful. Sport goggles, yeah. Honestly, I think about it all the time and just think how bad I would be now not being able to see. It would be terrible. Absolutely terrible. And I love sport, so that would be a shame. Yeah, TR, yeah, I'm thinking about it, LASIK. It's just whether I can get it. So I have quite bad, my sight's not too bad outside of stigmatism. So it's just whether it'll work with that. I'll have to go and do the testing for it. Can I tell you more about Tradeify? Yeah, absolutely. My favorite prop firm by miles. Okay, I'm going to show you why. I will show you why. Is these down? Okay, hopefully you guys can see some of this. I have to shrink it a little bit. There we go. All right, this is why I like it. 3 different types of plans that you can go for. All right, 3 different types of plans. So advanced plan, again, everywhere from 50K to 150K. Now, these are still on sale. I'll have to check what percentage they're on sale, but they are considerably on sale. So 50K account, $99 a month. I think right now it's probably more like $50 a month, maybe even less. Profit target, $3,000, right? Fairly standard for a 50K. Contract size, 5. Daily loss limit, none. Trailing max drawdown, 2,000, right? So this one comes with an intraday trailing drawdown. You can pass it in one time, and then you have an activation fee. However, if you don't like trailing drawdowns and you don't like the activation fee, you can go for a growth account. So for 180 a month, again, I think that's probably on 50% sale or so right now. You use 5 minis or 50 micros. You have a daily loss limit, all right, of 1,200. Your max drawdown is 2,000, but it's calculated at the end of the day. You can pass it in one day, and there is no activation fee. Okay, zero activation fee. So this account right here technically is the cheapest on the market. We were talking about it this morning. All right, we were talking about this morning in the Discord. Cheapest in the market. Same rules for each account. It just gets a bit more expensive. And if you want to skip that whole process, you can go straight to funded. Now, you can have up to 5 of these. I currently have 7 because I got involved with it and when I was grandfathered in, but anywhere from a 25K all the way up to 150K. One-time fee, I think it's probably like 30% off right now, something like that, using code FZT. 15 minis, 150 micros. Trailing drawdown now is 6,000. If you got in before Christmas, it was 7,500, right? And that's done end of day. Minimum days to pay out 10 and a 20% consistency rule. So just base hits, max counts now 5. It used to be 7. So 5 of these, and you just do base hits for 10 days, and you can take your money out the market. It's just so simple, and they pay so quickly. All right, market's starting to break out now, so just going to get back into this. All right, so they're starting to squeeze using for these stops for the run up to the initial balance. Remember, initial balance, we're then thinking about, does it drive back up into supply, or does it have a failed breakout and trade back down to the downside? All right, but definitely in squeeze mode, back up to the IB right now. VIX getting absolutely dunked on, coming down into low 18s. Do the straight to sim accounts mirror live data? Yes, they do. They'll move you to live after 4th payout. Build a 4th payout. So driving up into 400. Liquidity being added on the book now. So 400, 405, 410, 415. They're all looking to get filled up here. All right, so that squeeze. What a beautiful move. 50-point move already from this shoulder. Probably should have been more focused in here. There we go. So let's see what we get now. Now we're at the initial balance. 20 minutes left until lunch. Do they clear this level out and fail, or are they going to go and attack the London high up towards 450? So in a range rotation day, lots of people will try and fade this up here versus the IB high. VIX still coming down, trading back downside towards 18s. It can go and take out previous day close soon. No worries, Idris. No worries. The edge of the IB here. All right, coming up and tapping the edge of the IB. ES is comfortably through its initial balance, starting to head towards its 5-day moving average. Mag 7, most of them starting to go green, other than Meta, 1% down, and Google, 0.25% down. VIX, like I said, tanking, now coming into 18s. Previous day close will take it down to 1780s. Does that, market has more relief available to it. Again, you are in range rotation until proves otherwise. You have had a squeeze up here into the edge of the initial balance range. Has ES taken the liquidity? Not quite. ES has a little bit more liquidity above 62s here. Yep, Teflon, I'll go through it very, very simply in a moment. Let's just watch this price action for now, and then I'll talk through what I look at. You'd want to see this really hold this edge here, where these stops are, previous day close, for liquidity to be built up into a drive into that supply. Failure to do that, you know the score. It comes and cleans out all of this. Trading into value area high here as well. Old point of control, 445-ish. Yes, very close to taking out that liquidity high from 8:30 this morning. So again, they're going to need to hold 370, 360-ish for any possible continuation higher. Otherwise, it's going to be in trouble. And we're just going to go back into range rotation inside the initial balance. See those dips trying to come down and test this area that we talked about. Can it build something here to go up? Otherwise, fail it underneath. Buyers who are buying breakout here will get stuck. Technically, range rotation, this is your edge, this is your edge, this is chop middle. They would look to fade this into here, those who are playing range rotation, fading the edges. Momentum currently is upside, lower time frame though. Feels like it has room to squeeze, especially with ES not quite taking out that liquidity at 62 yet. So there's the break of IB high. Yeah, by a tick. Cleared out by a tick. Opening up that squeeze now. Oh, opening up that squeeze into this area. Right, so through 400, you get 425, 450. 447-ish, 445, that's the target really into supply if it can get going. Through that, we have some targets above. These white lines are all targets it can aim for if it's really going to get going. But very, very possible it can have a failed breakout. That low from Monday, 473, also on watch. Looking good here for continuation. So those dips paid here. Like we talked about, building this for this run up. If you took this, congratulations. Make sure you're paying yourself a little bit. All right, make sure you're paying yourself. You're clearing out liquidity. You want to be paying yourself in case the sellers come right back in for a failed auction. You must pay yourself money on days like these. See money, take money, hold a runner, move your stop break even, let the rest work. Yeah, Bruce, yeah, I hope you're okay, mate. I hope you're all right. It's terrible, really sad to see. Yeah, crazy range. Crazy, crazy range. And I think it's only going to get more and more expansive in the next week or so. So back to IB high here. ES cleared out those key levels, traded into its 5-day moving average. QQQ also very close to its 5-day moving average. Remember, that's a mean reversion trade. VIX came all the way down to previous day close, finding some bids there for now. Market still pretty thin, still a seller, 50 lot up at 450. Right, remember that was the ultimate target to go and clear out the London high. Right, if anyone's wondering why, this level here is Globex high. Right, this is where it will want to clear out to inflict pain. Up here is a stop run, and we can think about the pivots, these pivots here, which is what I have marked out on the 1-minute chart in front of you in white. It gets through here. These are the levels we will gun for. No base above IB yet, though. Remember, if we fail initial balance, we can come right back to VWAP. Right, we can give an 80-point trade right back to VWAP. If it starts to fail, we get a failed auction. That old point of control, 445-ish, 450. Tested overnight, but never tested in New York session yet. I'm watching that M15, looking at that 370 level. It's all the way down here where we just squeezed out from. And this new M15 bar here. Wondering if it needs to backtest that or not, if it's just going to continue higher for a squeeze. Looking good for a break here. Watching the book, 450 still there, 425s. Nothing notable. I'm not in any of this, just commenting on what I'm seeing right now. Wondering if they can auction higher here or not. Are they going to go and gun for that 450? Do they need to do a deeper pullback first, clear out some of these bulls who came in before they do it? Or do they just have a failed auction and do a full rotation from above IB high back to VWAP? This is your anchor VWAP right here. If you're wondering what that red line is, that's your anchor off yesterday's failure point, off yesterday's high. All right, so that's average price of sellers is that red line. Break of that can trigger more. I'm wondering if it needs to reprice a bit lower here and sweep these guys out and then go, or if it just fails under this. Again, not nice price action today, in my opinion. Doesn't mean it's not tradable, just not something I'm looking to actively trade. Maybe testing that previous day close and M15 we were just talking about. Somewhere into 70s. Ten minutes left till lunch, just be aware of that. So far, unable to hold and base above the IBH. ES has plenty of room to trade back into its IBH. Okay, ES's IBH is down at 54.50s. Traded a high of 65. It's almost 10 points it ripped up there on the ES. We're fading back inside now. Are we going to check out that previous day close? This kind of level here where we broke out from. This is what's going to be key. Do we soak off this for a new attempt high? Or do they fail under this and get stuck and come and sweep and clean out all these bulls? Remember, IB high to VWAP is a very, very common trade. Same as the IB low to VWAP. We got up here by using the liquidity bit we built. This was the stop run. These stops triggered this. Do they trap buyers now and come down and go for guns, the lows? Or is this just going to be a retest and a hold and a new attempt higher? Those are the options. Momentum is upside on the lower time frame. Momentum is downside on the higher time frame. You do not have conditions conducive right here, up here. You're in market building liquidity. We're not in bullish or bearish. We're in lower time frame higher time frame lower. So not a pro trend alignment. The best trades come when everything is aligned. Yeah, Idris, exactly. No man's land. That H1 almost tapped into. Why is it not showing me my hours? It's so annoying here on TradingView that it's done this. The 5 o'clock low, 5 a.m. low we tapped into. Traded through value area high. Currently sat just above value area high. Still think we trade into 75s here and then we see what's what, somewhere around there. So far, failure above into the anchored VWAP. Structure is all the way down here. Possible? Possible. Yeah, comes with the flow zones. All part of one thing. Comes free with the course. There you go. Coming down to previous day close, like I said, going to check out towards those 75s here to see if it's a back test and soak to move higher or not. If they just really let this go and we do a full rotation, we're going to go all the way back to VWAP. Trying to soak. Double relative equal lows. I really expect them to just come and take this out before they make a decision about anything else. It doesn't have to go up. Just because I'm drawing that doesn't mean it has to do that. I kind of expect them to come and wash this level here, back test this, and then make a decision point if they do this, or if they're just going to completely smoke out after trapping enough buyers up here. Lower time frame buyers trapped, no base above, so no trend confirmation. We're still in rotation. Rotation can come down to here if they fail. So they just swept that level. Yeah, they did just. What did I say? 75s? What did we hit a low of there? 76.50. Has lower in it if it wants to. These are just key levels where it's back testing in to see if bids will come in. ES can still come back down to its IBH, right? It's much, much higher right now. The extension on the ES was much better. Tech lagging a little bit more today. Meta still weak. Be aware of your timings. You're 5 minutes into lunch. H1 still looks pretty ugly. Pretty ugly. Most of the volume on the day has been created at 340s, which is your VWAP on the session, and it's also your point of control. Very close to wick on the M15, 72.50-ish, I think. Previous day close down here. 5:30 closes now, 4:30 closes a bit lower. So testing these wicks now. That's the M15 wick being tested. Now, the question is, do they hold this and soak straight back up, or are they going to let this go now and go straight down to VWAP? ES still not at its IBH yet. M15 holding for now. Good soak off that M15 so far. Beautiful. Still not in anything here, just watching, observing. Just missing its IBH there on the ES. Alex, with consistency rules, if you go straight to funded, is 20% the value of the account, i.e. 25K? Let me explain it. So if on, I don't know what you need to make on a 25K account. I'd have to double check. But like say on, you just do the total amount you need to make, and you can't do that quicker than 5 days, basically. So you just want to do base hits. So for me, if I'm trying to make $9,000 for 150K, it's a 20% consistency. I split that into fives. That gives me basically my max that I can make each day. But obviously you can't take a trade payout until 10 days. So you can just do base hits. So for me, $900 would be plenty each day per account. So I'd have to remind myself what 25K is. It's probably 1,500 or something like that. So just split it into a 10-day cycle rather than 20%. But like 150 to 300 a day would be plenty. You'd be fine. Trade for 5 days, make the money. Anything over that's great. Take the money out after 10. It's great for base hits, just for locking in. My trader farm, most of the time I'm going for $600 to $1,000 days per account. $1,000 being the upside, really the upside. So just over a minute left until we get a new hourly bar here. Still trying to build that flag like we talked about to potentially go higher. It's just at what point do they pivot it? You've got to think that this is so easy to come down for right now after a failed auction. Still got that seller at 450 and another at 500, but just a 50 lot. You know, there's no big size on the book. Here is the new hourly bar then. And we're into lunch. So probably going to thin right out now into lunch as well. So with that team, I'm going to call it a day. Not much to do today. It's one of those days where you just have to practice good patience in the market, stick to your rules. I guess I won't be back tomorrow. I'll check the timings to see what's open and what's closed. And given that, I'll be back Friday morning. Nice, Aaron. Good work. Friday morning. Before market. And remember, we've got NFP Friday morning before I'm on. So just be cautious. And I'll be back then. Trade safe, use hard stops. Don't be chasing this market. Remember, we're in range rotation. Don't become the liquidity for the higher time frame traders. All right, until then, be safe. Take care.